Headshot!
Hi, and welcome back to Wounded on Sixes. Today we're going to be going over my teammate's Black Templar list that he's going to be bringing to the Atlantic City Open. Been working on this list for some time now, just fine-tuning it with the last couple of weeks to go. So we're going to go over the list, what units are in it, some of the strategy that we're looking for this list, and my teammate may also jump in with a couple of neat little tidbits. So first we're going to start off with the a unit of Intercessors. These guys are really just going to hold the back objective, sticky that objective, and then maybe do, secondaries in the backfield, investigate signals, or just kind of screen out the backfield as much as we can. Again, it keeps the objective stickied for us with their objective controlled ability. So we do have the ability to move them off to perform actions with, but really that's all they're here to do, is patrol the backfield, keep our home objective safe and under our control. Next, we also have a unit of Inceptors. These guys are really here for their ability to drop within 3 inches. They are very, very versatile. They can drop in to steal an objective. They could drop in to move block. They could drop in to, murder something up close and personal. They have a lot of utility in that regard. And they're really good for scoring secondaries. And that's kind of why we're here, because this list does have a little bit of an issue with board control and getting those secondary objectives where you need to be in a certain spot at a certain point in the game. Next, we're going to have a unit of Primaris Crusaders, and they are going to be led by Grimaldus and his retinue here. These guys are going to be on foot. They're going to kind of travel behind the Land Raider if possible, which is going to have the next unit we're going to talk about. They're really just there to back up that unit, possibly even screen for them should there be a lot of targets looking to charge our Sword Brethren squad. They're basically Marines with chain swords, but there's a lot of them, and they can be really effective. And especially with in cover with Armor of Contempt, you can keep this unit alive for a long time, and it can really do damage if it gets into melee with something, just with the sheer number of attacks it has.
5 attacks per
Marine. 5 attacks per Marine.
And they'll have a 5-up feel no pain most of the time from your maul, just making them a little more durable.
So, and a 5-up feel no pain from Grimaldus, making them more durable, like you said. So, very good unit in that regard. Next up, and probably the most elite infantry unit in the list, is the Primaris Sword Brethren squad, led by High Marshal Helbricht. This squad is going to be running in the Land Raider here. Very, very hard to kill. All these guys have 3 wounds each. They have a lieutenant, which allows them to do lethal hits, and they get lethal hits on 5s, correct?
Lethal hits on 5s.
Lethal hits on 5s. Helbricht has a on the fight phase ability where he can do mortal, so it doesn't have to charge. It just has to be at the start of the fight phase. He can be very deadly if his attacks go off. And again, this unit, much like the Crusaders, there's a lot of bodies, there's a lot of wounds, and when you're running the Black Templar and you're getting the 6-up feel no pain naturally from your vows, and this unit can get a 5-up feel no pain plus, Armor of Contempt, it can be very, very hard to take this unit down. And that's kind of what you want to do with this unit, is you want to dump it out of the Land Raider, have it take an objective, and dare somebody to try to have enough firepower to move the unit off of that objective. Moving over here for our anti-tank type weapons, we're going to have a Gladiator Lancer. The Lancer is pretty efficient for what it does, pretty decent anti-tank, has a good amount of movement, is dressed up nicely in Black Templar colors, as you can see here. Really, the primary anti-tank, like to keep it on the back line as much as possible. Don't want to try to keep it in cover, which is easy in 10th edition, but this is really a key part of this list because it is the primary anti-tank weapon. There are a few others here, but this is the one we're going to rely on to fight with other heavy tanks as they come along. Next, we're going to have the Land Raider. This is modeled as a Crusader, but it's usually run as a Redeemer. They're working on 3D printing the sponsons right now for this. But this is going to be carrying the Primaris Sword Brethren squad. It's great for getting that Sword Brethren where it needs to go. It has a bunch of weapons. It does have some really good anti-infantry and some light anti-vehicle weapons as well. It's also a great move blocking piece. It could drop its units and then sit in an area between two pieces of terrain, forcing, you know, any infantry in the area to kind of either move around it, and any vehicles to have to confront it head on if they want to try to get around those obstacles. So really good move blocking piece for an army that, excuse me, again, has problems with board control and definitely needs to be able to use these big models for move blocking purposes. Next, we have what we're calling the Dread Ball here, and it's all three variants of the new Dreadnoughts. We have a Redemptor, we have a Ballistus, and we have a Brutalis, and they're also going to be joined by a Tech Marine. So the Tech Marine is going to be healing them up. It's going to be giving one of them power this machine spirit to give them better hits. Essentially, the way these are ordered is we're going to lead with the Brutalis to get those charges, the Redemptor behind it to finish up anything and hit with that big plasma gun, and then the Ballistus, you know, handing out some very good anti-tank fire support. And this Ballistus, along with the Lancer, kind of comprise the main parts of our anti-tank, whereas the two other Dreadnoughts, they are more of our anti-infantry and, you know, a melee threat. The Tech Marine can be really good if he has lone op when he's within 3 of these. He can buff all of them, and if one of them are destroyed around him, he gets extra attacks, which is really, really good. The Redemptor is expensive, but hard to kill. It does have that -1 to damage, and can be very devastating on the tank shock as well as the Brutalis. And that's kind of what they're there to do. Is this Dread Ball is essentially, you know, post up on an objective and essentially stat check another army to have to deal with these Dreadnoughts and deal with their functionality, which really is all three of them is essentially an army in the ball there. So you can basically do everything you need with these Dreadnoughts. They're tough, they have a great save, and they can do a lot of damage. So that's essentially the list. I don't know if you have anything else to add, but this is the Black Templar running as the Righteous Crusaders.
Yep.
And yeah, so if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and check back in for more. This is Wounded on Sixes signing out.